Misanthropy. A story of self-love, mental health, personal growth, and unconditional hate by the guy who sold out to make you laugh. You're welcome. Written by L.J. Ruiz. Dedicated to introverts and animal lovers. You can change the world, or the world can change you. Chapter 1. A Girl and Her Cat. Beep, 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 beep. This cold December morning, my alarm went off for what seemed like an eternity while my brain struggled to register it. I had no reason for an alarm. It was a relic of a period of my life when I had things to do and places to be. Now I had neither. So why in the world would I set an alarm for today? After about 100 loud and obnoxious chirps of that darned device, I blindly swatted around from the safety of my blanket cocoon and attempted to turn it off. The alarm was on my phone and required a careful swipe. There was a passcode to activate before I could even use the phone, and I was too groggy to enter it. Growing Hulk levels of frustrated, I threw my phone onto the bed and smothered it with my pillow until the alarm died and silence filled the room. Fatality. The next sound I heard was my solid black cat named Yoshi that slept on my bed. He ran this place and dictated my daily activity. If I didn't feed him or he needed water, he would do whatever it took to annoy me to the point of submission. That's basically all my life was at this point, a series of submissions to forces around me. I lifted Yoshi by the stomach from behind, kissing the top of his head. "Good morning to you, foul beast." He meowed in retort, so I hopped out of bed and walked to the bathroom, setting him on the counter before closing the door and looking in the mirror. As I washed up and did my morning awakening routine, there was another ritual I partook in. Listening to a rock song to put me in a proper anti-people mood, as if I needed any more motivation. I mean, have you been around these creatures? Today, the song of choice was by a band I had a great amount of affinity for called Ugly Kid Joe. The song I blasted off the speaker was entitled, "I Hate Everything About You." And frankly, I love everything about it. It said everything I wanted to say about everyone and everything. The apartment I lived in could be described as cozy, yet it was a smidge bigger than your standard prison cell. I'm exaggerating, of course, but barely. In fact, would you believe I had a kitchen and a living room that were both the same room? There was an island in the kitchen, but it might as well have been put there to reduce the amount of open space in the apartment because I only used it when I ran out of room on the counter. But there was not much in terms of dishes and cookware anyway, because I only had 4 mugs and 4 plates, along with 2 metal forks and 2 metal spoons. I didn't eat anything that necessitated a knife, ergo I had 0 of them. The bathroom was just a glorified closet with plumbing, and there was a stupid cabinet someone built into the counter that I always slammed my foot into when I went into the bathroom. Sometimes closing the door, I would hit the cabinet and it would prevent me from closing it, and that sucked. It really irritated me. Such as now when I went to close the door and whack! The cabinet was open and I had to close it before I had privacy. "Hang on!" I hear you screaming as you openly judge me while I continue to nitpick about my first world problems. "If you live by yourself, then what do you need privacy for? Just pee with the door open." Well, I would. But I was raised to close doors behind me, force of habit. So there you go. Chalk it up to old habits that never die. The apartment was also one of those despicable loud situations, but I didn't care. Yoshi was a good cat, stayed away from windows. His litter box was in the bathroom, and so were his food and water bowls. Anytime I had to leave, he chilled in there while Mama ran errands. And when I got back, we partied. Just kidding. He runs amok around the apartment while I trip over him, usually holding food or a drink. In the year of owning him, I swear I have the agility of a ninja to avoid tripping on him. Oh, sorry. Well, not sorry. I forgot to tell you about myself. Seems to be everyone's deal these days. People want to get to know you. They want to know everything about you. But why? Is it important to function alongside them? I don't get it. If we bond over similarities, why do we get hung up on differences? Because we, as a species, are petty. We want to hate everyone and everything, and we allow ourselves to do so in the most trivial of ways over the smallest of circumstances because it's way easier to burn a bridge than to cross it. To sate your appetite, however, your social appetite that is, I will give you some facts about myself. I am 22 years old as of May 18th, 2022. My hair is a chin-length bob with straight bangs and a shiny burgundy color. My eyes are brown. My skin is worryingly pale. Let's see Crayola make a crayon that tint. And every shirt I wear either has a reference to Japanese pop culture, a cat, or something related to video games. My name is Laura Ann Bowman, but I would like to be called by my nickname, Ren. Or Renbow, because it sounds like rainbow, and rainbows are pretty freaking awesome, so there. You now know I'm a Japanese-American nerd, and my favorite color is all colors. I live on unemployment for the time being, but I'll get into that later. I never went to college, never been kissed, never had a boyfriend, and in fact, never had a human friend. Just a cat whose existence is dependent on me waking up and functioning in a tiny, empty apartment surrounded by noisy neighbors, all with bustling lives and relationships. Ick. I put on a pair of tights that look like denim jeans, complete with tears in the knees, a baby blue shirt with a yellow kitty's face in it, and my favorite white sneakers. And yes, for you weirdos out there, I'm wearing no-show socks too. Just because I'm not social doesn't mean I would ruin a good pair of shoes. However, I do think sandals and flip-flops are very impractical, even here in New Mexico, where walking in a grassy area in the summer means you risk getting goat heads all over your feet. No thank you. I'll cover my puppies. Have a good day. So, back to the day at hand. There must be some reason my alarm went off, right? Some reason I consciously set it to this moment in the morning to rouse me from my dream of sword-fighting zombies on the wings of a biplane over Paris. Yeah, no joke. That's one reason I like sleeping so much. No, the reason my alarm was set was because this day was my mom's birthday, and it was also December 26th. I immediately rang her up, and she picked up as though she were waiting for the call. I may be introverted to a fault, but I'm a mommy's girl at heart. Yet she still manages to annoy me like everyone else. "Hello, Laura," my mom cheerfully quipped with her trademark giggle. "Happy birthday, Mother, and for the last day, call me Ren." "Thank you, dear," she said, totally ignoring the latter half of my statement. "You remembered!" I looked over at a whiteboard taped to my kitchen wall full of dates. Among them were today, labeled as follows. December 26th, Mom's birthday / job hunt. December 29th, rent due! January 5th, Yoshi vet. You know me, I stated flatly and walked over to a cabinet in the kitchen with about 10 mugs inside and choosing one I got from a teacher that had the Japanese characters for tea printed on it. Rather than pour tea in, I got a cup of vanilla caramel coffee to start brewing and got 2 packets of sweetener and my favorite French vanilla creamer ready. "So what are your plans for today?" she asked. "Same as every day. Exist," I stated in my usual irritated drawl. "Well, I need food. I gotta find a way to get my rent together and hope Mr. Buchanan grants me some leniency on a late payment. It's an uphill battle living in this toilet of an apartment, but it's the cheapest thing I can afford." "You're a responsible girl," she assured me in a positive inflection. "I bet you get it from your father." I snickered as I peeked at the filling coffee mug. "I don't think frugality is genetic." Now, your dad loves you. He worked real hard for what we had." "Fair enough, but I never saw the guy." "Yes, you have. There are photos in the house." I scoffed. I could probably recognize the back of his head in a heartbeat. I saw that more than I saw his face. And it wasn't too far from the truth. Sure, Dad had to travel a lot and made loads of money doing whatever it was he did, but he would ply us with cash and useless trinkets and be gone before we even had a chance to realize someone had entered the house. I remember him stopping by one day, handing me a PlayStation 4 and 6 games, then pecking me on the right cheek and vanishing into thin air. It was so sudden, I literally had no idea how the thing ended up in my hands. "You know that's not entirely the case," Mom assured me, trying to hold on to her chipper tone. "So, how are you? Did you have a good Christmas?" I opened the fridge and stuck my head inside. "Yup, slept right through it." "Oh, Ren," Mom groaned. The disappointment was so thick I could drown in it and chuckled softly to myself when she said this. "You know, you can always come here for the holidays." "Mom, I don't think you'll understand social anxiety," I told her as I pulled the orange juice out. "I literally don't want to be around people. I can't. I have to force myself, and it sends me into panic mode." "But why, dear?" "I don't know. It just does," I sighed, trying to piece together examples. "It's like my brain convinces me everyone around me is my worst enemy. I don't even like standing in lines at Subway." "Dear, don't be silly. There's no underground transit system." I face palmed so hard that I swear I saw stars. My forehead stung for hours after. I meant the restaurant, Mother. I groaned in abject annoyance. Look, I have to go job hunting. So Job hunting? Mom cried in a shriek so loud I actually had to hold the phone away from my face. What happened with your old one? I shrugged but spoke casually. I was mean to the customers. But you worked in tech support, Mom said sadly. I'm sorry, dear. I'm not, I mused. They deserve any sass they got. Not my fault they couldn't follow simple instructions and wanted to argue with me over how to plug in their computer. Fine then, honey. I'll let you get to it. Love you, I said flatly and blew a soft kiss. Mom made a million kissing noises over the phone, which caused me to hang up on her before pouring a cup of orange juice to drink with my coffee. Yeah, I'm that type of person. I grabbed a cold toaster pastry in my mouth and took the mug and cup to my desk where my little laptop sat closed. I set my stuff down and opened the computer up and began checking my email and found every folder was empty. I checked my spam. Surprisingly, there were dating ads in there, so I kindly redirected them to the trash bin where they belonged. I glanced at the time and realized it was about to be 10 a.m., which meant only one thing. My neighbor was leaving for work. Here we go, I said to myself and waited to hear his door slam. I grabbed my mug and cup right on cue as the door shut behind him with enough force to rattle the entire crappy apartment complex. Forgot your lunch. Ah, darn it, I forgot my lunch box, I heard him groan. There was a jingling of his keys, the pattering of his frantic stamping around the house, and finally the door slamming once more with enough intensity to make Godzilla blush. Have a nice day, I grunted, and set my cup and mug down. I gulped down the orange juice and noticed new spam emails from video sharing sites advertising video blogging. I threw those in the garbage as well, and then used an internet search engine to look up job opportunities away from home. I figured if I couldn't work from home like my old job in tech support, I could do something like record keeping or and I cringe when I say this, a receptionist. Now, why would an introvert like me want a job like that? Because I'm a wizard with numbers and I have the gift of eidetic memory. And being someone with obsessive-compulsive disorder, I can spot and fix any mistakes and correct them. So, as much as I hate people, data analysis is the perfect job to keep me distracted. Gag me with a spoon. My life sucks.